What's happening?
Yeah.
So we didn't get a guest then, no?
Sorry, bro. We were going to have one, but we got, not messed about, but didn't happen. And then my backup didn't happen. So we had to Marcus Rashford against Midtjylland it almost. Just get anyone in. And I thought, you know what? Do you know what I thought, Stay? Why have a bit of us time?
Okay.
Because we always have, like, Baggers or Joe.
In the room.
Yeah, gegging in on it, don't they? Oh, what's happening with Brew? Not got an outcome on it. And I just thought, nah, man, let's just have me and you just chatting about whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Ray Wilkins, QPR, 4-1, Old Trafford, 1992.
It's the 90, yeah, it's the season we lost the Leeds, isn't it? Was it New Year's Day?
Feels like it.
Dennis Bailey hat-trick?
Dead dark. Dead fucking dark.
Yeah,
Why was it so dark?
Dennis Bailey hat-trick.
Yeah.
Didn't he go into the Old Trafford changing rooms, ask for anyone to sign his match ball?
What a dickhead. Have you heard Mark Crosley's story about his debut against Liverpool?
Go on. Oh, is this a Brian Clough story?
Yeah, I'm here for Brian Clough.
I'm all about that. Seriously. Good lad.
So, obviously, should I do the Brian Clough voice?
Can you do it?
Now then, shithead.
That's good.
Is it shithead or shithouse he calls? Shithouse.
Young man, wasn't it?
No, shithouse.
Oh, right.
Mark Crosley was shithouse. It will be helpful if you brought your gloves. So yeah, he tells Mark Crosley, 18 I think he is.
Right.
You started in there for Nottingham Forest. Right. Bring your boots, and it'll be helpful if you brought your gloves as well. He's going to play against Liverpool, who are flying, aren't they?
Is this Liverpool?
It's got to be late 80s.
Is this when they were like good?
Yeah.
And like used to win things consistently?
Yeah.
Instead of like once every 30 years?
Yeah, they like retain trophies.
Oh, right, yeah. I remember that. I don't remember it because it was before my time, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's 30 years ago.
Yeah.
At least. So you got Mark Crosley there about to make his debut.
As an 18-year-old. Against a team which pains me to say, but, you know, one of the best.
Good, weren't they?
Yeah, pretty decent.
Have a look when his debut was, actually.
Mark Crosley.
He was definitely the 80s, but I don't know if it was early or late because he played forever, didn't he?
He's the only one in it to save Matt Leslie's penalty.
Is it?
Matt Leslie's missed one penalty in his career before he started putting tinfoil on his head
Interesting.
and started telling us not to get vaccinated. And yeah, he's the only one that saved it. So his debut for Nottingham Forest was 1989.
Oh, so it was late 80s, isn't it?
So, and he was born in 1969. So yeah, he would have been 29.
All right, so yeah, so he's
Which is young for a keeper.
Young
to play
goalkeeper.
first division football as it was then.
So I think they beat Liverpool. I think he said it was 1-0. I can't remember, obviously. They beat Liverpool on his debut.
Yep.
And he's like, Clough giving him a match ball. He's like, go in that dressing room and get it signed by all them players. And he's like, I've just beat Liverpool. I'm not going to go in their dressing room and fucking ask them to sign the match ball, am I? And I was like, I think Mark Crosley goes, I'll walk up to the dressing room and I'll just turn around and tell him he said no. And he goes, I walk up to the dressing room, I've got the ball in my hand. And I went to turn around and he goes, knock on the door, shithouse.
Mate, I love that. He was somewhat different, wasn't he, Brian Clough? Because there's so many Brian Clough stories. Like, if you ever sort of get the chance to...
the whole best bit of this debut weekend for Mark Crosley is, though.
Sorry.
And he goes, you need to be... He asked him to come to his house tomorrow morning. So he's made his debut. Well done. I think he kept a clean sheet. Come to my house the next day. 9 o'clock. Be helpful if you brought your gloves. Right? Makes him play for Simon's Sunday League team in the Nottingham fucking 5th division of Sunday League or some shit like that.
So this guy's making his debut for Nottingham Forest in the first division against Liverpool. And the next day, he's playing in non-league for his son's team.
They're short of a goalkeeper and I thought you'd like the game. So he fucks him off to go play in the game, and he plays, and he goes like, the standard's fucking shocking. He says, Archie Gemmell's running the touchline. He's like, what the fuck is going on here?
When it Clough had like Peter Shilton training on the traffic island before the European Cup final.
That's a good story. As well.
Yeah, he's like...
So anyway, that fucking Sunday League team get fined for playing a ringer.
Do you reckon?
And he takes it out of Matt Crosley's wage.
That's class. So he stitches him up, makes him play in a non-league team, and then the 20 quid fine or whatever they get.
50 quid.
50 quid, he makes him pay.
Which in 1988,
don't I need to buy an house for that in those days.
Probably about a fifth of his wage, I would think.
Mate, do you remember? It's like when I remember an interview with Neil Webb once, who famously was on the bench for the 1991 Winners' Cup final, and he said that when he was at Forest, they had I think might be Mark Crosley who got injured, and they didn't have a sub keeper. So he went in goal.
Yeah.
and he said like I played in goal and we were 3-1 up or whatever, and we drew 3-3. And like Neil Webb at the time was playing for England, who was like Nottingham Forest, big player before he moved to United. Anyway, next game he's dropped from the squad, not even in the squad. So he's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why am I not in the squad? And Brian Clough said to him, you can't even play in midfield, let alone goal. Just dropped him from the squad. Like
It was
a punishment for conceding those goals.
He was a bit fucking different, wasn't he?
He was. It was sad though in the end, wasn't it? Because he struggled with the old alcoholism, didn't he? I knew a lad that used to clear out the changing rooms at Old Trafford. He was like a trainee. And he said that when Forest were there, he went into the opposition changing room and like found 2 bottles of whiskey in the little office. Do you know what I mean? Like he just struggled. But you could see as well, like the early, like obviously got relegated in the Premier League, those early Premier League years. But I think then he got better, didn't he? Because he did interviews like in the late 90s where he was a bit more with it, or mid 90s where he was a bit more with it. But yeah, he did struggle. But he's just such a character because I don't think you can explain it fully to people. They don't get it. Do they? Forest were tiny.
No, this is like when Eddie Howe took Bournemouth from the Championship.
Yeah.
It's like he won the Premier League that year.
Yeah.
Then the next year won the Champions League.
And then retained it.
They retained it, and then it just fucking crumbled. Didn't it? But ultimately,
like,
I think you're allowed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now and again, he still won the odd trophy, didn't he? Win the League Cup a couple of times, didn't he? But he was pretty much gone. But like, have you seen that documentary, I Believe in Miracles?
I've seen that documentary.
Of course you are. Why am I asking you that? Of course you have. It is mint, though, because some of the things he did, like, was it Frank Clark he bought? He bought Frank Clark, and Frank Clark was like 34, and he said Frank Clark did an interview, and he said one day I was in training. Brian Clough comes over and went berserk at him and said, don't ever let me catch you training again. Right. He literally
didn't have tactics either.
Well, he said because he was old, Frank Clark, he said he just had me playing matches, didn't train. And he said he caught me once training, he sent me home. And he said, like, and I played 2.5 years without missing a game. Do you know what I mean? Peter Shilton, who anyone doesn't know, was before the European Cup final, was practicing on a traffic island near the stadium. Because he went to Brian Clough, I need to practice somewhere.
Wasn't it without a ball at all?
I think so, yeah, just diving about on the grass near there, because that was the only place they could find with grass.
Just imagine you've got a ball.
Yeah, it's like, what? It's like Mike Bassett, innit, when they lose the ball. Yeah, honestly, Brian Clough, what did you make of the damned United?
It's entertaining, isn't it? Michael Sheen's a good actor.
Yeah, he is, he's very
but
good.
I don't know how much of it's true. I mean, obviously, it's some serious quotables in that, isn't it?
bro.
But I think there's families involved in there. That was a lot of old ass. That was a lot of old ass.
Was the bit about him
interesting-
slagging players off in the first training session?
I think so, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Get all your medals and throw them in the bin. You've not earned them fair.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
love
word
that.
for word what actually went down. Was it Johnny Giles that come out and said, no, it's not what he said, but he was like, you've not, you've won stuff, but you've not won it playing the right way. So you can see Jose Mourinho saying some of the stuff that he said. Maybe not quite. I think it was probably dramatised a little bit for being a film. But yeah, I think he did go in like that. Was it 60 something days it lasted?
Something 44, I thought it was. Do you know what I mean? It was quality though, because have you read his
book?
book?
Can you imagine the basically Don Revie's left Leeds to manage England. Brian Clough, who's this mad TV personality / football manager.
That was mad, wasn't it? That you had managers who could be on the telly.
Yeah.
Like, you could be the full-time manager of a team that was winning the title.
And you'd go on Soccer Saturday.
Yeah. And critique the other teams.
And be very honest.
Yeah.
Not PC with it.
No.
Be like, we'll smash them next week.
Yeah. Like, that was all right. That was allowed.
Yeah.
It
was miles better.
Yeah.
But then, so for those who aren't aware, Don Revie's obviously took over England. That didn't fucking work. Was it 73? 73, 74?
Yeah, it would have been, around that time, around 75.
So Leeds have been fucking killing it with a dirty ass team.
Probably right, yeah, 75.
And then Clough's come in, and then basically you've got them two on a talk show. Was it with Parkinson? Are they on
I don't know. I
Parkinson's?
think it was like Leeds local radio, not local radio, local TV.
Right.
But you're right, because they go on a talk show, don't they? Was it just after Clough's been sacked?
Yeah, or while he's there.
He's either all going wrong for him or he's just been sacked, and he goes on a TV show with Don Revie,
who's the ex-manager.
Yeah,
that
and they hate each other, don't they? They detest each other. They make Fergie and Wenger look like bezies.
Yeah, well, Fergie and Wenger actually became
bezies, but like these two cannot stand each other because Clough, like you said, when he was going on the telly and critiquing those teams, he hated Leeds.
Oh, he hammered him, yeah.
Yeah, and he hated Don Revie, hated Leeds, slagged him off. Then he goes there.
That's what was shocked when he took the job.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, wait, he's done what?
Like, why? But then he goes on, doesn't he? He sort of gives a good account of himself, doesn't he? Because he says, like, I wanted to do it better than you. Don Revy says, well, I only lost 2 games all season. How can you do it better than me? And he goes, well, I could have lost none. Do you know what I mean? Which is a kind of good point, isn't it? But I love it in his book. Clough goes like, Leeds United always wanted to win the European Cup, and they've never won it, and now I've won it twice.
There's a lot of Jose in him, I think.
Yeah. I think it's a shame the way it ended with him, like you say, like I was saying earlier, going into alcoholism. But what he did in terms of like just motivating players, getting the best out of players, because that team shouldn't have won anything.
I think it was a lot more on the recruitment.
Do you reckon?
I think his eye for recruitment was unreal.
Was it Peter Taylor who was the almost co-manager, wasn't it? He was like,
he was the quiet one, wasn't he? I think he just got on with it and let Clough be the gobshite.
Yeah, because I think it started going a bit wrong when he left because he went to Derby, didn't he? But he was very good as well when it recruitment, and they get these players who like proper moneyballing it, aren't they?
Oh, hugely.
Like
Mark Crosley said, when he made his first team debut, he's like, right, rips up your contract. He's like, sign that for us. And he goes, he looks at it, it's a blank piece of paper. And he's like, what do you want me to sign? He's like, fucking sign it.
It's like when he signed Roy Keane.
And then he come back the next day and he's like, all right, I filled your contract out for you.
Just sign it, you don't know what's in it. Don't worry about that. He said, Roy Keane said something similar. He said when he met him, like, he went over with his mum and dad. Because obviously, because Roy Keane loves him, because he rescued him, basically.
Roy Keane puts him above Fergie.
Yeah, and people say that's just Keane not being better. But one thing you got to remember about Keane is, probably has been a bit better, but he was literally like, it looked like he wasn't going to be a professional footballer, and Brian Clough took him to Forest, and he said he just threw him into the first team. There was none of this, you're in the resis,
You heard about him punching him?
Yeah, then after a game against Palace or someone, he
gave the ball away or something. He just fucking one-hour'd him.
Do you know what I love about that as well? Keano says I deserved it. Like, just walks in the changing rooms after half time, have a bit of that. He's like, fair enough. But I love that, man. I mean, you could get away with it now, could you? You're getting sued and sacked. But that's quality, that. But he, because he said he met him. He said he flew my mum and dad over and me, and we went to his office, and we met the chairman. And he said, my mum and dad like, oh, Mr. Clough. And he went, oh, no, please call me Brian. And he said, except you, Irishman, you can call me Mr. Clough. And he said, he just called me the Irishman. That's what he used to say to me. And he said to him, like, as well, he said, your job is to get hold of the ball and give it to a red shirt. That's it. And that kind of like was what Keano was just the best in the world, wasn't it? Forever.
All of the great sort of visionaries of football, they've made it extremely simple. You know, from Cruyff and Clough and Fergie. They don't try and overcomplicate it. They simplify it and they make it easy for people in their teams at least to understand.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is sophisticated.
Yeah.
And clearly what Clough was doing to take, and not only so people go, oh yeah, you know, he did with Forest, obviously it's fluke. He did it with fucking Derby as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He's got a statue there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because he won the league with Derby. Then went to Forest, won the league with
Took him up from the Championship.
Yeah.
Which he won.
Yeah.
Took over a team at the bottom, I think, of the Championship.
Yeah,
Both Forest and Derby was at least in the bottom half.
Yeah.
Gets them to win the Championship and then come and win the league.
And you can imagine as well, right? He leaves Derby, goes like, I think he went via Brighton or whatever, and or even Leeds, ends up at Nottingham Forest. They aren't that far away from Derby, are they? And they're kicking around the bottom of the Championship, and he gets them promoted. He gets them, and then goes on, and then goes on to win the European Cup, the Champions League. That's better than just being an amazing manager.
Champagne?
That is utter genius level.
It is genius,
isn't it?
It's genius.
Like has anyone ever done that in another country or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
No. Like you've had managers who've built.
You win the league, you don't go back down.
No.
And manage the Championship at the bottom.
And that's what he did. And then to win back-to-back European Cups. We've not even done that. Do you know what I mean? What's going on? Forest has
English
done
football shagged that European Cup though for a long ass.
Me and you talking about this the other day, weren't we? Like, was it like Villa, the Scousers, Forest, all from like the late 70s to the early 80s? We were like 7 years or something on the trot.
Shit, can you imagine if we was half decent, we'd have picked up a couple of pots.
Why did we win all our league titles when it was dead hard to win the European Cup? Like if we'd have won 13 titles in like the 70s and 80s, you know, we'd have 10 European Cups now. 100%.
We probably could have had some more in the 60s as well.
Have you seen some of the runs that Liverpool had?
Yeah.
There's teams that don't exist anymore, Steve, in the semis. Do you know what I mean? It's like, who are these?
Well, I've
never heard of them.
68 wasn't like a who's who of...
No,
it was Hibernian from Malta.
Yeah.
Was it Shamrock Rovers?
Steve, they were class, what you're on about. But yeah, when you get to the semis, that's when you get into the thing, innit? Like, was it Real Madrid we had in the semis, wasn't it? And then Benfica, obviously, in the final. But yeah, like, some of those runs, and it's just, people go, you jealous? I am jealous. We won the Champions League, right, in 99 by beating all the best teams in Europe, if not the world. And some of them twice, or playing them twice. It's ridiculous. We've got some messages from our sponsors.
3 times with Bayern Munich.
Imagine playing Bayern Munich 3 times in one season to win the Champions League, man. That's just unfair.
Didn't lose to me either.
I know, we should have got 2 Champions Leagues for that. Do you know what I mean? Never mind 1. Here's a message from our sponsors.
This show is brought to you by Green King, the home of pub sport. With over 900 sports pubs across the country, Green King is where the fans go, showing every broadcast game for your club. Head down to your nearest pub and you can enjoy every live sporting event from BT and Sky Sports on tap. So if you're out and about and you're looking for somewhere to watch the Manchester derby, have a look at Green King pubs. You've got the Matchstick Man, which is literally right round the corner from Old Trafford, a stone's throw away. It'll be full of Reds and it's always great for a match day atmosphere. You've also got the Lasso Gary, which is a great pub in the centre of Manchester where you can watch the game this weekend. So download the Green King season ticket app. You receive a free drink when you register and 10% off a great range of drinks 1 hour before, during and after any match. Green King is where the fans go. It is your home of pub sport. So head over to the App Store and search Season Ticket to download the app. The links to the App Store and the Google Play Store are in the description of this video. And when registering, make sure you use our code Paddock, all caps, that's PADDOCK, and you will get an additional £5 off when you spend £15 on drinks. Check them out.
Right, and we're back. So, not just put a comment in here, and I'm ignorant to it, so I'm going to do the legwork while we're on here. Now, I believe he said some banger shit about Justin Fashanu at some point, Brian.
Yeah, it's because Santa Notch, who's a friend of the channel, has said, "How and the way Clough treated Fashanu, ? How did he manage that? Because basically Justin Fashanu obviously was, I
Did
think...
he play for him?
Yeah, Justin Fashanu went from Norwich to Forest and was a big...
I know he played for Norwich.
Yeah, was a big money signing. Didn't work out for him at Forest, really struggled for goals. And basically, Justin
Fashanu is a gay player.
Yeah,
as well.
he's a gay,
first
openly gay player, I think, in sort of.
And he got
football.
Fucking pelters.
He got pelters,
well.
yeah, he did.
And in fact, even his fucking brother has said some fucking horrendous
John
shit
Fashanu,
about him.
I think, and
Did he say he was doing it for attention or something?
Yeah, which is just I think John Fashanu.
Fuck me, what sort of attention do you think you want?
Like, I just want lots of hatred off everyone because obviously this was like the early 90s, late 80s, or whatever it was when he came out and he was just getting grief. Brian Clough.
I can't imagine even being a black player at that time.
No, and also, you're not doing it for attention, are you? So, like, let's just have right. And, you think your brother would have your back and stick up for you.
What did Clough say?
So Clough sort of said, he said this, I'm sort of loath to repeat it because it's pretty heinous, but I think Justin Fashanu had been seen at gay clubs. So Brian Clough
So this is before he's
come out.
Right, okay.
He's at Forest.
So there's rumours.
Yeah, and he's been seen at gay clubs, and obviously, I think Brian Clough's got that thing that Fergie used to have. If one of your players is out and about, you know about it. Someone rings you and goes, I've just seen, Norman Whiteside in the Sands getting levered or whatever, or I've just seen, in this case, Justin Fashanu at a gay club, whatever. So I think in his autobiography, because he's done a couple of autobiographies, Brian Clough, and I think this is his first one. And by all means, if you know more about it, get involved in the comments, because I'm sort of doing a bit of Googling as I go. So he says in his autobiography, when he spoke to Justin Fashanu about it, he said, where do you go if you want a loaf of bread? And Justin Fashanu replies, a baker. Where do you go if you want lamb? A butcher. So then he says, why do you keep going to gay clubs? But he doesn't use the word gay club. He uses a derogatory term, which is obviously bang out of order. You know what I mean? Like, and there's no defending that. And I'm not going, oh, well, it's a different era. It's still wrong. Now, I
don't get the question.
I think he's assuming that Justin Fashanu isn't gay. He's just going to gay clubs, which he's trying.
Is he almost like, why are you going there? They're going to think you're gay.
Yeah, or like why would you go there when you want to go meet women? And obviously Justin Fashanu hasn't said, well, I don't. I want to go there because I'm gay. Right. So Brian Clough's just made a completely wrong assumption or whatever, and just handled it in a terrible way. Now, I think in Brian Clough's second book, he expressed regrets about the way he handled it. I want to be, I might be wrong about that, but I have this feeling that that he sort of, I'm going off websites here, and it says here that there's a story about what happened with Justin Fashanu. I mean, there's a documentary on Netflix, I think, about Justin Fashanu, because I think he ended up taking his own life.
He did. I do know. Yeah.
And then he he sort of,
Which shows the fucking whole attention
sort
of shouts as just being utter fucking wibble.
It has. So, because just to give a bit of sort of background, I think Justin Fashanu and John Fashanu were what was called Bernardo's orphans then. Right. I think so. They, you had.
Are they genuine brothers? Or was
they're genuine brothers, but were adopted by the same woman, I think. So, and what that was like kids who from wherever who were orphaned and who go and live with this family. So they were from or their family originally was from Africa or somewhere like that. They'd been adopted by this white woman who lived in Norwich or around that area, I think. And they both ended up playing for Norwich. I think they did anyway. And Justin Fashanu was like the biggest star, I think, of the two. Ends up getting a big money move to Nottingham Forest. And I think a lot of this was, and it's not justified, but I think Clough sort of was fuming with Justin Fashanu because he's bought him for a lot of money. He isn't scoring goals. Then these sort of...
And then they're trying to find a reason.
Yeah. So it says here, John Fashanu...
You got to think some of the tabloids at the time as well would have just been horrendous.
Yeah. It says here in an article, Brian Clough later regretted, not a word, later regretted his behaviour to his former player.
What year is this?
So this would have happened. This would have all happened in like the late 70s, early 80s. I think it's like 81, 82.
So there was some serious stigma with gay people in the AIDS epidemic, wasn't there, at the time as well, which the tabloids really fucking fueled with just like misinformation, lies.
Do you remember like some of the I remember when it was like a gay kiss in EastEnders and the headline was like, "Get this filth off our telly."
Well, wasn't there a big uproar that Princess Diana shook an AIDS victim's hand?
Yeah. And they were all like... I think. Yeah, she was one of the first people who sort of made everyone realise that you can't catch AIDS off just kissing someone on the cheek or hugging them, or because there used to be all these rumours in there you can get it if you share a cup of tea or whatever. It was nonsense, just fear mongering.
Yeah, it was like some sort of anti-gay sort of agenda driven by the tabloids and using this disease as sort of like a fear mongering. It's just a bizarre fucking time, and for a lot of in football fans, the Sun's got a fucking horrendous reputation, and rightly so, because of the things that they said over Hillsborough. But they got this reputation because of how they've acted on political and social fucking things forever. They're horrible.
No, they are. They've always
more recent times, the immigration side of it's been fucking horrific. The stuff and some of the right wing sort of things that get pushed out into British society, and possibly one of the drivers for Brexit was a big fucking racism push because of pricks in the Sun. No. And this has been 30, 40 years of pushing lies on behalf of fucking who's benefiting from this?
No, they've always been on the wrong side of history, haven't they?
Yeah,
it was even like you won't remember, you're too young, but when Freddie Mercury was ill with AIDS, really ill, and they were like, following him around, getting pictures of him going to the doctors, sticking it on the front page of the paper. I think it's why I think it's Roger Taylor, whoever the drummer is for Queen, he says we'll never have anything to do with the Sun because of the way they treated Freddie Mercury in the last days of his last few weeks of his life. Do you know what I mean? Just horrible fucking...
Yeah, because he was very frail, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and it's like plastered that all over the...
yeah, that's exactly what you should be fucking...
Yeah, and it's, I have nothing but contempt for the Sun. And, I've done bits and pieces with different papers or whatever, and, sort of, I know journalists from other papers, but I think the Sun are just beyond the pale. They are, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I remember being at a funeral once, was covering a funeral as a reporter. There's a girl, what's her name? Thingy Howard, who used to be like the young girl who was going really, really ill in Manchester.
Oh, I know what you mean. The one David Beckham used to bring out.
Yeah, forgive me, I've completely forgotten her first name, which is terrible. But when at her funeral, there was like...
Bethany or something.
I can't remember her. I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember her name. Forgive me.
She was a mascot for the 2002 game against Greece.
Yeah, she had a lot of...
2001.
A lot of problems with her organs. I think she was given...
How the fuck do I remember that?
Because you've got a memory that's very, very strange like mine. But yeah, and I remember being at a funeral, and there was Sue Johnson from the Royal Family who was there, from Brookside and the Royal Family, the Scouser. And everyone was doing interviews, and I remember this journalist asking a question, and she just went, "Oh yeah," and she was dead friendly, and she went, "Yeah, what paper are you from?" And we went, "The Sun," and she went, "Oh, I can't talk to you, I'm a Liverpool supporter," and just walked off. I was like, "Yeah, that's sick." I love that. Yeah, I mean. Santa Notch says, yes, she looks after them both, and they had to deal with a lot of racism. I think going back to Justin Fashanu and John Fashanu's mum, or adopted mum, whatever you want to term it. Yeah, well, go and check out the Justin Fashanu story. And also,
when did he pass away? It was 80s, wasn't it? Or did it? Was it early 90s,
No.
maybe?
It was. Yeah, it was.
I don't remember him as a player.
No, he was pretty much before my time as well. He passed away in 1998.
Oh shit!
And he had
When did he
so
stop
many
playing?
clubs. He stopped his last appearance. Well, he was playing for Miramar Rangers in New Zealand up till 1997. He was at Hearts until 1994. No. Oh yeah, he did. He played twice for Manchester City. He was well travelled. City, West Ham, Leyton Orient, Newcastle, Torquay.
Who did he play most for there? Notts County.
Notts County. I think he went to Notts County after
What's that? The first one that I can't read it.
Norwich. So he got Norwich. Then this is where they went away to Adelaide in the summer, probably, or whatever, because he used to do that. Then he went to Forest. Only scored 3 goals in like 32 games.
Edmondson Brickman. Is that a real team?
Yeah. Canada, though.
Scored a lot there.
Yeah, Canada. This is what I mean. This is a player who obviously gifted and ended up being just a journeyman because of Forbidden Games. That's the Netflix story. Forbidden Games, worth watching because I think it's important as well. Because I'm glad Sandlot's brought it up. If you're going to talk about people like Brian Clough, you can't just sort of ignore things they've got wrong or did wrong. And look, you got to be sort of honest in your assessment of these people, and you can't just dismiss it. And I think he was flawed, Wally Clough, not just in things like that, but as I mentioned earlier,
had issues with
alcoholism as well, and that was a big part of what eventually led to his demise as a football manager, because Forest
Remember when Forest got relegated? Was it 93?
Yeah, the first ever Premier League season.
So, yeah, if you look at the cameras kind of follow him, because obviously this is like literally having like a Jose Mourinho sort of figure with the club he made famous.
Yeah.
And they won 1 title. In their history, they've got 1 top flight title.
They've got 2 European Cups.
And 1 title. I hope they never win anything else, because that's the best quiz question ever. Which team's got more European Cups than domestic titles?
Yeah. Which team's got more European Cups than Manchester City and Arsenal put together? Forest.
So I can vividly remember, because obviously he's the rugby shirt and fucking green sort of character in there. I can vividly remember the cameras following him into the dugout for his last game, and he doesn't look well.
No, you can tell, and I think it was
the stress of taking him down must have been big.
Yeah, Stuart Pearce said, I think it was in one of his books or something, that that game, the game they had to win to stay up, the last game of the season or whatever it was, and like 10 minutes before kickoff or whatever, no one can find him, and then he turned up with his dogs and a spade or something. He had a spade and his dog was like a shovel, and he's like, "Right, lads, you okay?" And everyone's like, "What's going on here? What are you doing?"
There's a fucking Stuart Pearce story on Clough, and it's he did an apprenticeship, I think, before he was a footballer.
Yeah, he was like a bricklayer or something. Electrician, sorry.
So he's got an advert in the programme, Stuart Pearce electrician. So he's like, before a game, he goes, Stuart Pearce has been away for England. He rings him up, he goes, "What day are you back?" And he's like, "Back Thursday." "Right, what time?" 2 o'clock. "Right, meet you in the dressing room." And he goes, the entire team sat in there. Clough comes walking in. He's got a carrier bag. He goes, there's a towel on the floor for some reason. There's a ball on top of it. He fucking boots the ball, puts his carrier bag on top of the towel in the middle of the room. And he goes, "Lads, our captain is a fraud." And Stuart Pearce is sitting there like, fucking hell's he going on about? And he goes, pulls a programme out, and he goes, "What does that say?" He goes, "Stuart Pearce, electrician." He goes, "If my wife rings this number now, are you going to come round and fix my light bulbs?" And he's like, "No, it's my brother." And he goes, "So why does it say Stuart Pearce, electrician?" And he goes, "Right then, this iron doesn't work. I want it on my desk working Saturday, or you're not playing."
So your captain has been away with England. Bringing in an iron.
You're like, what is going on? Mate, honestly, that's the sort of thing that you get up to, though. Like,
he's keeping his players grounded.
Yeah.
Crosley, you've made your debut, go and play Sunday League. Fucking Stuart Pearce, you've just been away with England. Have you fixed my fucking iron?
Yeah. Neil Webb, you went in goal for us, you let in 2 goals, you dropped from the squad. Do you know what I mean? It's like, hang on a minute, what is this? But I think that's what worked, because Forest was small, and it was his team, and he did what he wanted, and he had untold success with him. He could get away with that. Like, if you come at United and you start to like that, eventually, it's like Tommy Docherty, when he, obviously had that fair. Despite his success on the pitch, he gets sacked because it's Manchester United, it's an institution.
Who gets away with banging the secretary as a manager? There you go, commenters. Which manager?
What, of United or in general?
Let's go in general, because No, I wouldn't want to cast aspersions. I think they're all married, our managers, aren't they? But like,
I'm going to get in some comments because we've not read any here. James Wood says, "Stay laughing emojis galore. I'm at work and in stitches at his Cloughy impressions. You're not too bad at the old impressions, you son.
that Cloughy one, I don't know, I can't hear it, but that Cloughy one work, does it?
Yeah, I think that's so. It's not John Fury levels, but it's not bad.
Brandon was talking about getting John Fury on, and I was like, do you reckon I get away with doing John Fury?
As long as you don't do it on the Brew.
To Tyson Fury.
Right. If you do that, yeah, do it on one of your own shows. Because it kicks off, I'll run and get out.
What is it, the hardest man in the world?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, what's he going to do, smash me head in? Yeah. What's happening with him and Joshua? Are they getting together?
I don't know. It seems like a lot of fucking posturing, doesn't it, at the minute?
Because he did that tweet and he's saying, "Oh, you've had your deadline or the video. That's it." But now someone was saying, "No." He's done another one saying that can happen. Do you care? Have you got a dog in the fight in that one?
Not really. I was thinking about this before, actually. This weekend. Is it this weekend, Ben and Eubank?
I think so. They've been doing the media rounds.
Yeah.
When is Ben and Eubank?
Are we all Conor Ben, by the way? Is there anyone sitting here saying, no, Chris Eubank Jr. for me? Because he's a fucking widge, isn't he? Conor Ben seems sound.
October the 8th, it's next week.
Right, okay. Is anyone here wanting Chris Eubank Jr. to win?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm struggling to get excited for this. I remember the first Ben and Eubank fights, both of them. I remember, was you there at Old Trafford when Eubank came on the pitch?
No, I was fucking 11.
Right, well, I was 14 or whatever, and I was there. And what made me laugh is because Nigel Ben's Paulin's his cousin, innit?
Right.
So everyone, this is when Paulin's was at United, so everyone loved Nigel Ben. So Chris Eubank comes on the pitch at half time against West Ham or whatever.
In a riding costume.
Yeah, with a monocle and whatever. And everyone starts chanting Nigel Ben and booing him. And then he went over to, like, there was a small section of, like, the Paddock, Stretford, scoreboard Paddock, not Stretford Paddock, who was cheering the Eubank because he was there and they were all probably drunk. So he went over to them and was, like, waving and doing all this, but everyone else was booing him and chanting Nigel Ben.
Yeah, because was it 1995, Old Trafford?
Something like that,
yeah.
The second one, because the first one was a bit of an upset when he beat Ben, and the second one they drew. I think it was a bit damn squib, to be honest with you. But it was a huge fight back in those days. Like,
but weren't both of them world champions or former world champions at the time? Where their sons are in their careers is nothing comparable to where those two were at the time.
No, God no. Like Nigel Ben, he'd beaten like Iran Barkley and Doug Stewart, and yeah, he was like,
just the weirdest stance ever.
Yeah.
I remember I was in Village in Ashton, right, and there was a fucking boxing match on. I was like, Jesus Christ, that kid moves like Nigel Ben. And then he interviewed him, and he was like, Conor Ben. I was like, that'd be why.
That'll be why then.
I just thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Didn't he look like Nigel Ben? Ben's had that weird sort of fucking stooped over sort of. I love Nigel Ben.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Nigel Ben. He went to become a DJ, didn't he?
He was talking about fighting again not long ago.
Isn't he about 58?
Yeah, he is. And someone needs to put an arm around him and be like, hey, let's think about some other
It's
stuff.
sad, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
In Hatton fighting again.
Yeah, and that's sad as well.
I'm glad that Crawler stops when he stops.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I had a word with him when he was like fighting Lomachenko and was like, can I have a word? You doing what? And then he's like, Steve, I know, but you want to see how much they're paying me?
That's a good Andy Crawler impression, that.
Oh, Steve, I know.
He's like, it's a cliche, but Crawler is the nicest man ever. I just, you know what I mean? And you do worry when you're like, Lomachenko, bro.
What do you say about him when a mate is like, I'm going to fight a guy that
arguably
I think is the greatest of all time?
Yeah. It's
You doing what?
Yeah. But it's that payday, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I know. And it was like, to be fair to him as well, at least he tried. I'd have just run off.
But
it was such
him afterwards. He goes, mate. He goes, I've been here.
He was saying he did an interview recently where he said was it the fourth he got knocked out and he didn't remember the fourth. He thought he lost the third. He's like, no, there was like going on, like, because it was just like he just came from all the angles, didn't he?
It was like
ridiculous.
I thought I had an idea where he was going to be, and he was not there.
No,
Lomachenko's a fucking wizard.
He didn't find like 180 amateur fights.
No,
or something
it was
stupid.
300, Jay.
300. Sorry, I'm well off. 300.
Oh, 296, I think it was.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. And lost about two of them.
One or two, I think it was. Yeah.
So he's a bit good.
He's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, he's
I think
not
he was
bad.
in a title fight like 5 fights into his
Yeah,
career.
he's only fought like something like 15 times as a professional, or something like that. And he's lost a couple of them.
Unreal. I've never seen movement like him. People talk about the defense of Floyd Mayweather, but it's Lomachenko for me.
He's just having a laugh now, and there's talk of him doing another one.
There's 3
with,
fighters that I would just fucking kill to watch live.
Go on.
Lomachenko, 1988 version Mike Tyson, and Roy Jones Jr. before he got fucked up.
Roy Jones Jr.'s decline is one of the saddest for me because when he was mint, he was unreal. He was amazing, and then when he's like bumbling around the ring against Joe Kawasaki or whatever, and you're like, who is this guy?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Hands behind his back, holding onto the ropes, and then fucking dig you. That Roy Jones.
He was unreal, wasn't it?
Was it Evans who fought at the time?
Have you ever seen his fight in the Olympics?
No.
Right, because he got a silver medal in the Olympics, right? Because he lost in Seoul to someone from South Korea.
Right.
And the judges were South Korean.
Robbery by any chance?
And it was that bad. They changed the scoring system and the rules in amateur boxing in the Olympics. Now you have this I think it's the button system where when a punch is landed, you have to press the button, and whoever's landed the most punches, it's like mathematical wins. They did that on the back of that because Roy Jones Jr. basically batters this South Korean kid for 3 or 4 rounds, whatever it is, and I mean batters him. The kid doesn't lay a glove on him.
Just Roy Jones.
Just Roy Jones is him. Roy Jones gets fighter of the Olympics and loses that fight. He gets a silver medal because the judges just basically go, yeah, we'll give it to our countrymen. We need a bit of a lift here. We need a gold medal. So they just rob him. They just it's not even it's not even debatable. They rob him so bad. So the Olympic Committee have to go right. We can't let this happen again, and they change the rules. It's unreal. If you ever get a chance, just Google Roy Jones Jr. Olympic final. You will be amazed because it's just it's a training exercise for the kid.
1988, 1987, 1986 version of Mike Tyson against any human being with or without weapons.
I went down the rabbit hole not long ago watching some of his fights, like those early ones, like the Michael Spinks one, when Michael Spinks was like undefeated. He was the one. Is he the one that kept getting up and falling over?
That's the one. Yeah. That's the one who wins the title for the first time. Is he 20 years old?
Something. Yeah.
Fuck all the way off.
He's
just ferocious. You've never seen anything like that.
Horrible man. Mike 93 says Conor Benn wins all day against Eubank, and I reckon we're actually going to grind a result against them frauds on Sunday. He's a member of the first team for 14 months. Thanks for your support. The Francis Brady is a member of the academy for 23 months. Says you should try get Giles on the pod at some stage. He does a bit on Irish radio weekly, and he's great when talking about the old days. Nobby's brother-in-law. Yes, he was. He was at United, wasn't he, Johnny Giles? This is the weirdest one for me with Busby and Johnny Giles. Something went down there.
Okay.
Because Johnny Giles was at United. Nobby Stiles talks about this in his book, and he was mint. Johnny Giles, just a mint midfielder, really good, helps us win the FA Cup in 1963, and then Busby gets rid of him to Leeds. Just get gone, sold.
Where he's a legend.
A legend. And it's weird because he's mint, and it's like, why have you done that? Do you know what I mean? And let's face it.
It wasn't like anyone came in either, was it?
No. It was like he just didn't want him at the club for whatever reason. Busby just moves him on, and Nobby Stiles just was lying in his book saying, I don't get it, because Nobby Stiles married Johnny Giles' sister, or the other way around. So yeah, it is a real weird one. Abdullah Ibrahim says boxing is the most spent sports, worse than VAR. Loads of people, actually, Dazza Music says Ben all day. Bradley Fennell says I used to like Eubank, but he's fell off a bit. Phobos Taco Man says Tyson Fury is doing WWE soon. Witterbird says, what's the worst punishment Paddock's dished out? I don't know, what does that mean?
In what sense?
I don't know.
Twatting someone or like...
Yeah. I don't know, what's the worst? I don't know what you mean.
More information required.
Yeah, like, I don't know if she means, do you have punishments for your players if they turn up late and all that?
No, not really. People think I'm proper off my fucking nut with the team, but I don't really do any shouting whatsoever. If I'm shouting, it's gone well wrong. I don't think so.
Did you not?
No.
I told you about what my missus thought you was on that Jose Mourinho documentary because she was in the corner ironing. It's not like we're an old-fashioned couple, like she does the ironing while I watch telly, but at this time we were.
Well, that's exactly what was going on.
At that time, yeah.
Okay.
So she couldn't see the telly, she could just hear it. And then Jose Mourinho was shouting on that All or Nothing documentary, and I turned it over and started watching you, Paddock. And then she was like, Steve, on Jose Mourinho documentary.
Yeah.
What are you on about? Well, let's face facts. And stranger things have happened with you. And she's like, I thought that was part of the documentary then. But at that time, I think you were shouting. But I don't know if it was you shouting or you doing you, where you're doing your motivational. Come on, lads. We're not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't.
Not necessarily telling anyone off.
I don't really shout. I don't really shout, or I don't. Why do I need to tell people off?
Well, I think you're more like.
There's a couple of times
I've seen it a couple of times where I've done a commentary for you, but
bananas.
You haven't really been. It's been more like, lads, we're better than this team.
Den's in pre-season didn't chase back in a pre-season friendly and then never played for me again.
Is this the kid that was here?
Yeah.
Right, the one. I shouldn't blow him up, right? He's a lovely guy, but he was meant to start at 10, and he messaged me at 1:30 saying I'm running late.
Well, was he wrong? So yeah, Dan's. We got we conceded a goal in a. It sounds mad saying this, but it was in a pre-season friendly. We conceded a goal,
Right.
And that's probably the last time. This is fucking pre-season this year. It was the last time I shouted at anyone,
Yeah.
and I just shouted, "That's your fucking man," and then got rid of him.
Fair enough. What are your other coaches like? You've got a little team now, haven't you? Do they shout and scream?
No, why are we shouting and screaming? We're good.
Yeah. Fair enough.
If people are doing what you want, why are we shouting at them? Like, if I'm shouting on the sideline, something's going west on it, and things don't generally go too west.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a big game this weekend. Denton in the cup. We lost to them in dodgy circumstances last year.
Ooh, bit of revenge on the cards.
Too soft free kick, which the guys just fucking top bins, which can't really do a lot about.
Yeah.
And a soft as fuck penalty. Kid 18-year-old lad lent on someone, and the guy goes down like he's been shot.
Really?
Give a penalty away. Yeah. They had 3 shots in 15 minutes. We've had 20, and we're 3-0 down. And you're going, I can't even get mad at it. What can I get mad at?
That's like Louis van Gaal. He had that attitude, didn't he? Like, if his team did what he told them to do and lost, he didn't care.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have. If this team didn't do what he told them to do and won, he'd go mad at him.
Yeah, but they don't really have a lot of that. We've been playing some really fucking good football lately.
I've seen a few highlights, man.
We've been playing some fucking banging football lately.
Yeah.
So I'm confident
Still got
tomorrow.
Pundit Jade in your commentary.
Yeah.
He's funny, isn't he? He's a funny guy, man. I'm back with him this weekend. We're doing our podcast.
If you're watching the Paddock highlights, don't start drinking every time he says pick up the pieces.
Mate, I love Pundit Jade. KO Fitness Cornwall says 396 to 1 Lomachenko as an amateur. Also,
396.
Also, good vibes, Sean. John Shin. I love John Shin more than life itself. Says career in the house because we were talking about South Korea. I love that. His dedication. Before we go, we've almost forgot, and we do need to talk about it. The 1991 Cup Cup final.
Someone tweeted us today with a
go on.
screenshot of Sparky's goal.
I saw that. Is that your favourite goal from United?
It's probably the one I emulated the most in the playground
Yeah.
this week.
I'm about to say, I still try to do that now and again if I'm aside. Don't end well.
The balance you need to not fall over.
Well, I usually end up on my ass and the ball ends up going out and I have to go and get it.
What goal?
Oh, it's so good.
What
Took it
kit?
too wide. What's
What
he
a
doing?
kit.
What's he doing there?
What a
Oh,
kit.
he's doing that.
Bring back. Can you imagine if FIFA, UEFA was like, yeah, guess what? We liked it when no sponsors was allowed in European finals. So
Do that.
can you imagine how fucking cool it'd
That'd
look?
be mint, that, wouldn't it? We'd have to get the old snide ones, wouldn't we? Yeah, do you know what I mean?
How fucking cool that'd look. I think United should do it.
I think that is
Do
one of the
you
best
know what we
kits
did for the
ever.
50th
I don't
anniversary
just
of
mean
Munich?
United, I mean everyone.
The
Yeah.
50th anniversary of Munich, where we just went back with a finger kit. I think we should do it once a year.
We should do that, what?
Once a year.
Do you reckon? It seems to affect the players, that, you know.
I think it was because there was a lot more pomp and ceremony for that game.
Because they didn't turn up, did they?
No.
And City were
Was it
shit.
Joe?
It was
No, Benjani.
Benjani with that.
Fucking hell.
Do you remember? And it was like, why are these playing us off the park?
Didn't they take their sponsor off their shirt as well?
I think
they
so.
wore their kit but with no sponsor.
Yeah.
I think that was what.
Because they beat us all the way that season, didn't they? And they were terrible. And we won the bloody double.
We won
The actual double with the Champions League.
Fucking lot.
Yeah. And it's like, how's this happening? I hate all this, that game.
Do you think that's going to happen this year? What? In the other way around?
What we'll do, the double and they'll do. Would you say that? No.
Would you?
I think we're gonna have to go turbo over the next 6 months over the fact we've won the Champions League and they haven't. I think we're gonna have to get that in a lot because it's gonna happen, innit?
Yeah.
Like
That big fucking
you don't
freak
buy
up
that
front.
fucking weasel and not win everything.
It's 1-0, isn't it? Starting in every game.
Yeah. It's minging, innit? Because everything we feared might happen with him has happened. You feared like he could come here, have like 3 touches a game and get a hat trick, and that's what he's doing. And it's like, what? Like, and who's going to stop him? The Scousers are terrible. Chelsea have imploded because they've got a chairman who thinks this is, fantasy football.
He's off, he's not.
Yeah.
He's going to be well entertaining, I think.
Yeah, I think it's mint. I'm so glad he's there. I mean, I hate our owners, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I want them fucking gone. But, you can still laugh at other owners. And he's having the time of his life in it with someone else's club, which is funny. Spurs, aren't they? They're not
Leeds
gonna-
could go down.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? That'd be a nice. That's probably going to be the glimmer of light for us at the end of the season. When we win the Europa and Leeds go down, that'll make up for City winning everything else. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's not going to be all bad.
Jay, all I'm going to say is one day we're going to win the league again.
How many years do you reckon we'll have to wait?
I don't know. That's my own questions. But we are going to win the league again.
Will I be alive for it?
I don't know about that.
Oh, come on,
right?
man.
And we are going to celebrate it like unashamedly. People are like, you've won these leagues. You've won 3 in a row.
It was
Shut
so
the fuck
funny,
up. Watch this.
Exactly. It was so funny that the one time in 30 years them like win the title, they get the closed doors games and you know what I mean, no parade and all
I still
that.
touch myself to that twice a week.
Yeah, that is. I don't blame you.
Do the missus out on that?
Yeah. It says here, United 7-1 to win on Sunday.
What?
Really? Listen,
Put the fucking wages on it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's not really defeat it though. We've beaten City when we've had a worse team than we've got now, and they've had a better team.
Facts.
Other than Haaland, like they have had a better team than the one they've got now, and we've beaten them. So, you know, it can happen. Listen, if Nottingham Forest, right, can win 2 European Cups, Manchester United can win fucking Derby.
Someone tagged me in a clip earlier of Andy Gray.
Being
And this is January 1993. So
God, that's peak sexism. What was he saying?
first Premier League season.
Right.
Someone was asking him, do you think someone's going to dominate English football for the next 20 years, like we've just seen with Liverpool in the last decade? And he's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. When you've got, you know, he's like, the news is Roy Keane's just signing a new contract at Forest and won't be going to Manchester United.
Right.
Les Ferdinand's just signed a new contract, I think, at QPR, so won't be going to Newcastle or wherever the fuck he was going to be going.
So he's getting everything wrong.
Yeah, the money in the Premier League means that the best teams are going to be able to keep hold of their best players now, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to dominate it.
Wow. And to be honest with you, that was probably the highlight of his career. It went downhill after that. It got worse.
The highlight of his career being memed up for Soccer AM.
I know.
We take a boost on.
The thing is, right, there was a time, briefly, where Andy Gray was good.
As a player?
No, as a commentator like that, you know. I remember that game me and you talking about Southampton, our first ever win.
It's Brian McLaren.
McLaren surely he couldn't have placed it any better. Like that sort of stuff. But then he just went horribly wrong.
Why did they come off comms? Why did they took him off comms and give him a show?
Have you not read the papers?
No, but they took him off comms and give him a show. Why did they take him off comms in the first place?
Comms, wasn't it? And then like Richard Keys now in him is like, Richard Keys thinks he's some sort of football expert. He's a fucking weatherman.
The best thing with Richard Keys was like when he's talking about modern football and he goes, you know, things like goals. What? Did you just say goals?
He's like Alan Partridge, isn't he? He's Alan Partridge trying to fit in. Have you seen that clip of him with Jamie Redknapp? Where he's being sexist? When this clip got leaked, when all that sexism came out. If you've not seen it, I'm not going to...
This is just banter one.
Did you smash it?
That's what he says.
Yeah. Horrible. Awful, cringeworthy. What are you doing? Like, trying to be one of the lads.
Yeah, and for starters, aren't you 60?
Yeah. Why are you doing that? I'm not going to we're going to end up saying things of regret here. But Colin Wilmot.
About someone's daughter?
Yeah. Colin Wilmot.
Okay.
See, this is why me and Steve do a channel together. We don't even need to say it. Colin Wilmot.
Did you fucking smash it?
A member of the Academy for 12 months says, do you think we're any closer to the sausage roll and Red Bull party, lads? Great show again, up the paddock.
Well, you've just done a video, haven't you, where he says no?
What?
With a fella that was in here before.
Oh, with Mark Ogden, the video that will be up later.
Yeah. So watch that and find out whether we need to order some sausage rolls or not.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what the future holds, eh? Steve will be back with his post-match review for us.
If we win.
If we win. No, not doing that. You're not doing that to me. You used to do that to me all the time. Or you'd message me a minute before full time or at full time. I'm not doing this.
Do you know, one of the things that gets fucking slung you know, fan channels and stuff like that is you only do it for negativity and shit like that. And I famously with Jay is like, I'm not doing one when we lose.
And I used to, when I used to be at Devils and he was freelance, he'd like me, Steve didn't review. No. Okay. Why have we not got Steve House review? He didn't want to do one. Do you remember that guy came and had a go at us outside Old Trafford? And this is fair
we
play.
Just lost the game, haven't we?
The two of them came over, didn't they? Right. What these guys did, right? We'll talk about this briefly before we wrap up. They were kicking off with fan cams and fan channels, and they were going over to certain fan channels who were, I'm not going to throw mud at them, but they were, you know, hiding behind policemen. And they came over to us, and we were like, "Yeah, what have you got to say?" And they were like, "Well, you're not even proper United fans." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And we're like, "Oh, we've been supporting United since 1985. When did you first go?"
Well, they said both of you. You're not even from Manchester, and I went, That's what technically draws on the same side, but like, you know. And Eccles, you know, I guess it's Salford,
yeah?
but you know what I mean?
And then they were like, all right. You are from Manchester. How long have you been going then? So, you know, and I was like, well, his first game was yours, 1987. Mine was 85, yeah? And they were like, all right, okay, then, yeah. Well, you lot profit off when United lose. And then Steve, bless him, gets out his phone and starts showing him stats and all that.
Transfers, actually,
and then,
you dick.
in the end, the guy was like, all right, lads, yeah, no, come back and talk to some more. I want to show you some more stats.
I was like, I'm not even fucking doing one. We just lost, haven't we?
Yeah, we were just chatting.
I'm not even fucking doing one. I'm just watching him.
And then he's like, oh yeah, you at Molineux were accusing us this, that and the other. I was like, bro, I've not been to Molineux since 2005. What the fuck are you on about?
Someone had been racist, I think.
Yeah.
And he was like, why are you?
Yeah,
and I was like,
he conflated.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. And me and him were like, what are you on about? And then in the end, they were like, right, okay. Sorry. So yeah, we don't profit when we lose. We don't, you know, get any benefit of losing, ever. We want United to win.
Do the fucking numbers, our views go down.
Yeah, exactly. So regardless
we
of
make content for United fans. No one wants to watch anything when we fucking don't.
No, we don't. You don't remember, you were on that watch long we did, when you remember when Everton drew 3-3 with us? Do you remember like a couple of seasons ago, Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the last minute at Old Trafford? I think you were doing stuff about it. The watch along was me, I'm Jay, me, Joe, and Macca. I'm Jay, I'm losing it.
No, that was me.
Hey, I've gone full Bobby Robson with Brian Robson on her. It was just us sat in silence for 3 minutes. You know, just gutted. None of that performative drivel. It was just like deviled.
Oh, you mean authentic reaction?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? We need to stop this authentic stuff.
Is it that fucking Widge? Who's speaking of someone who's had too many digs to the fucking head?
Right, can I talk to you now? Seriously. Can we stop? Can we stop giving attention to anyone that thinks Brian Robson wasn't a good player? Can we stop giving attention to anyone that thinks Eric Cantona isn't one of the greatest players that's ever played football?
It's got to be a wind-up on it.
I don't know. Is
no
he a
one can
wind-up
genuinely
or
believe that.
One of the thickest men on planet Earth?
Brian Robson.
What are you saying? You're just saying stupidness. And he was like trending the other day because everyone's on it. I'm like, just ignore him.
Brian Robson.
Brian Robson wasn't that good. What? That's not a sentence that makes any sense. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm getting a curly finger here anyway. So I'm going to have to go. Otherwise, we'll end up going down a rabbit hole and probably both getting cancelled. Make sure you're checking out Stay On His channel. Make sure you're checking out Stretford Paddock FC. Make sure you are subscribing to this channel as well. And we will have that Mark Ogden interview up in a couple of hours where he talks about, amongst other things, Harry Maguire and the sort of the controversy
and
there.
the shit he made up about him.
Well, yeah, that was what everyone was saying, weren't they? So you can find out the truth about that in a couple of hours. This has been The Brew. That's been Steve. I've been Jay. Thanks for watching.